Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of 10 Minute Marvel.
Welcome back.
We have some news and rumors to discuss today, as well as Phase 5 is almost officially done. All the movies are done for Phase 5, so now that we've had some more time after Thunderbolts, we are going to rank all 6 of the movies. I, of course, am your number one host, Peder, and ranking in at number 2, we have.
As always, the number two, just getting number two all the time in this podcast. It's Greg, everyone. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for joining us. And it honestly is like I feel like the longest Marvel phase ever. When we did this, when we decided to do ranking the phase five, I was like, it feels like it's been forever. Like it just has
Mhm.
not stopped. Um,
Now, in all fairness, there was a very long chunk of time with the writers and uh, actors strikes
yeah.
that extended this
Yes,
out.
true. But it's certainly, I feel that. Like it just
Hmm.
feels like when you said it was phase five and we should do all the rankings for it and because it's wrapping up, I'm like, we're still in phase five? I don't know. It just caught me off guard.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
Oh,
curious to see if it is the longest. It is not. It's
is
not even close.
phase one the longest?
Phase 1 was 4 years. Then Phase 3 was actually three, or uh, Phase 1 is 5 years. Yeah. So
Wow.
this one
Well,
it is 3 years for this phase. So most of the phases are about that 3 or 4 year.
okay. Hmm. We'll have to dissect maybe why we're feeling that later.
Hmm.
Let me get to the good stuff here. Hang
Yeah.
on. If you if you're looking for ways to support us, you can find us on our YouTube channel. Search 10 Minute Marvel on YouTube. Give us a like and thumb smash that subscribe button. That is always appreciated. Find and follow us on Facebook and that other thing with an X. Hashtag 10 Minute Marvel. Sorry, hashtag 10 Min Marvel on that one.
Correct.
We need to make this a little bit more consistent. Can you work on that? And of course, you can leave a rating and review wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. Okay, I did
All
it.
right.
Better.
Good job.
Thank you. Let's do this. Let's
All right.
news, rumors. What are we gonna do?
Rumors. We'll kick off with the rumors here. First rumor. This one I almost didn't put in there. I think this is a more of a rumor that Thor 5 is actively getting worked on. And they toss in that Taika Waititi isn't going to direct it. So I think this is more just a rumor of, hey, something's actually being done now, because we've kind of had this rumor before.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of talk out there when Hemsworth posted that thing on
Yeah.
Thor and everything, and everybody's like, "Oh man, I think he's done. He's no longer going to be Thor." I'm like, I don't think that was. I think it's kind of the opposite. I mean, I
Hmm.
got why they thought that. It was kind of
Yeah.
it gave a little bit of a send off vibe, but yeah. Um, so I'm glad to see he's back. Glad to see he'll be training and showing his butt cheeks some more. That's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
so
here for.
hmm almost made a joke about number 2 there.
Ooh, probably would have
Yeah.
been a dirty one.
Yep. All right. So, next rumor, and this one is for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Oh, yes, it is. We have Sadie Sink. We know that already. The rumor is that she's going to be playing Gwen Stacy. This kind of goes against the rumors that have been maybe Mayday that who should be playing. This rumor, though, is Joe or John Roca and Jeff Snyder, the Insnider. So their rumors tend to be, I would say, a little bit more substantive than some of the other rumor people.
Um,
I'd be really happy if she's playing Gwen Stacy.
I would too. I like the Mayday idea, really, honestly. But Gwen Stacy is a really good fit as well.
Yeah, Mayday I kind of like, but I think you could do Gwen Stacy without it being multiversal and keep it more grounded. Mayday, you have to kind of do multiversal, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think they want to shy away from that whole
Hmm.
multiverse stuff. At least they're trying. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
actually happening, but
yeah.
I mean
Um,
F4, right? So okay. Anyways,
yeah. So then
you got that
Rud?
one?
No.
I'd probably say Ruard or
Rard Malika, who has been confirmed for the cast of the Vision show, is rumored to be playing the actor who's going to be playing Tommy.
is he is he Russian? Like or
Uh,
like does that kind of I mean
no, he's
that's a very interesting name. That's why I say
mhm,
that because it's
Italy.
I've never ever seen that name. Ruard. Okay.
Yeah,
He looks a lot like tip of the tongue Johnny Storm. Who's playing Johnny Storm?
Joseph Quinn,
Yeah, he looks a lot.
John Malkovich.
He looks a lot like a young John Milkovich. That one guy
Yeah.
in that one movie. I
hmm
can't think of the half 13th floor. Um, you got his credits at all? I'm pulling them up if you don't.
Uh, I did have them pulled up. Sebastian, uh, let's see, Witness number three, Stonemouth. Yeah, a lot of things that I'm pretty sure you're super familiar with.
Tell It to the Bees.
hmm
Too Rough. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recognize him from anything, which is not a bad thing.
Oh, yeah, no, not at all. Looks like, yeah, I mean, he's been in some like more indie style films.
Yep.
Um,
Most recently, probably the franchise would be where people know him from, the HBO show.
okay.
He's been in 8 episodes of that, which I think means that he's just a regular on that show at
Okay.
this point. So,
Um, I'm good.
yeah.
Sure. I don't know. I like somebody that's got a little bit of grit behind them, and that
hmm
shows that they can play a serious character, I think. And
hmm
I think that might be necessary for Tommy's role.
Yeah.
So
I mean, kind of what they set up for Tommy and Agatha all along.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
seems.
that's a harsh,
Yep.
you know, growing up.
Yep.
So
Then the Vision series is also rumored to be 8 episodes long. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that.
yeah, it's kind of on point, I guess, with
Yep.
what they've been doing. So maybe what'll happen is if that one, Agatha and WandaVision, they'll all you play all the episodes, each
Mhm.
episode one for each one of them at the same time, they'll all come together. It'd be kind of like
Mhm.
the whole Pink Floyd
Yeah,
Wizard of Oz.
you
It'll
play
be
the Dark Side of the Moon over the top of them
yeah.
all
Yeah.
at once, and it's a trippy
Yep.
experience.
Yep. Kind of like that, or kind of like the Flaming Lips at a album where you had 5 discs and you had to find 5 different like CD players at this and to play them all at the same time to get the songs to sync up, or to like one CD had like bass and drums, other CD had vocals, other CD had guitar. I bought it. I could never get
Seems
it to work.
that seems like way too much
It,
work.
it was a super cool idea, but I couldn't.
Totally impractical.
It totally right because each like disc player you'd use kind of like
Yeah.
started a little bit different than the other, and so it was not a genius idea, but they did a lot of drugs, I think. So
Yeah. Next
I
up,
digress.
rumor for Ironheart. That Ironheart is going to take place 2 months after Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I think the most interesting element about that is that we are well past 2 months in MCU timeline
Yeah,
for Wakanda Forever. So this will be the first time where we're kind of jumping back a ways.
was Wakanda Forever 2026? Like, is that when it was supposed to be, or is like the time period they set it in the movie?
I
Was it
believe so.
because then okay, so then and everything
Or
else like then
2025. I
okay,
forget.
because Thunderbolts was 2027,
hmm
right? And so that's kind of like where we are currently with the last two. Yeah, it's definitely going back.
Spring 2025.
Okay. I'm talking about like the in the
hmm
movie, right?
In the movie,
Okay.
spring 2025.
Okay. I'm just surprised they have spring in there. We have the seasons
hmm Well,
figured out,
because
I guess.
She-Hulk is summer 2025. And yeah, you can actually figure out some of the seasons. It was like New Rockstar's breakdown of when precisely um, Brave New World is set, and then when precisely Thunderbolts would be set based off of just plant life
Right. I
in the
know, right?
area.
Because the cherry blossoms, right,
hmm
is Brave New World.
Yeah, targets a
Ah,
super specific time period,
yeah.
or like gives you a window of weeks that
S
the
Yeah. So what happens if Ironheart's going back obviously a couple of years?
Hmm.
What was happening in Marvel in 2026? Like other than we got Wakanda Forever, then what was the next? I'm trying to think back. Like I'm
Hmm.
asking you because I cannot seem to figure it
Yeah.
out.
The Marvels, probably 2026.
So the Nega bands and stuff like that, Guardians 3,
Guardians, maybe?
is that
Yeah.
which is up, that's not much happening here. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't that was in outer space, right? So it sounds so childish when I say outer space in the galaxy. So maybe Chris Pratt will show
Yeah.
up in this. I don't know. Or no, Star-Lord, sorry.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt's Star-Lord.
So I'm actually looking up an in-universe timeline here to see, but that gave me, I believe, comics. It's a little
Hmm.
bit more
Ask ChatGPT. It'll figure it out.
mhm. Marvel Cinematic Universe. We go. This is an absolute mess to look through. It's not laid out well. Uh,
So you're telling me we should continue on with this a little bit?
oh no,
And
I'm getting to the good part here.
okay, good.
Once I get far enough down. So 2026, Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, uh, Secret Invasion, The Marvels, and Agatha All Along.
Agatha Long was placed in 2026.
Yep.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because we didn't hit 2027 until Brave New World.
Okay. So we have the hex is over with. We have
No.
Kang
Yeah.
dying.
Yep.
What else was in there?
So that's, yeah, this is 2026. So, yeah, King Dang, Skrulls announced.
Gaia
Yep.
is
Everybody
born.
eaten by Flurkin and spit back out.
So scrolls must be around, right? And so are we going to see some scrolls happen in Ironheart? I doubt it. I'm just thinking like,
No, because like if we're looking at it summer of 2025, since it's just a couple months after Wakanda Forever, like that puts us in the same time frame as She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, maybe Thor: Love and Thunder.
but there still could be scrolls.
There still be scrolls, but they're very hidden at
Okay,
this
we're not
point.
going to see like a mass the government going after the scrolls and
Right,
like
that hasn't happened yet.
right.
So then, next
After
three
that
rumors.
tangent.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because sometimes you look at it and go like, well, that doesn't make full sense where that is
You're right.
timeline wise. It has to kind of fit multiple spots in the timeline, and that doesn't work.
Yeah, and
But
this is part of Marvel's problem, I think, right? Is that it's really hard to do what they're doing and have it all. And I don't think anybody that loves this
yeah,
stuff really cares. But if they're trying to make it fit, it's like trying to make things fit is getting harder and harder as they go.
yeah. Well,
And I
and
think,
especially with more and more stuff
yeah,
too.
right. And so I'm kind of wondering if as they are going to reset here eventually, if they'll be able to, if they're going to be able to
Well,
kind of move forward without such thought and precision into timelines and what's
mhm.
happening.
Well, and I think this is probably where you're looking at getting that split between uh, movies and shows, where shows might be on their own slightly different timeline in terms of how quick they come out or like how quick things are. Because you think about Daredevil Born Again season two, there's going to be a year in between in real time, but season two, what has to pick up right after the events of season one.
Yeah, true.
So it's going to put it kind of out of phase with
I
everything
mean,
else.
it doesn't have to, but
I mean, I think to have a
they're going to be,
year skip would be nuts.
yeah, I could see a couple months, but not a
Yes.
whole year.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily going to be like, and the next day, but
I
I
do
do
wish they
think,
could, I wish they could pull that off. I mean, I
mhm,
wish not the Daredevil in a year thing, but
yeah.
I wish they could pull it off where things fit together in the time,
Hmm.
but that's
I
just
th
not
yeah.
possible.
I think TV just throws that out the window as a real possibility.
Yeah.
Because every show is going to be moving at its own pace. And I mean, even you think about, say, Daredevil Born Again had been dropped between, actually, it was dropped between Thunderbolts and Brave New World, that didn't stretch that whole time period, even though it did for us watching it.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Okay.
tangent there, but
Yep.
three rumors for Doomsday. First one is that Doctor Doom is going to use Sentinels to fight the X-Men in Doomsday. This one comes from Daniel RPK. Thoughts on that?
I don't know if I love that.
No, to me this seems like a there might be Sentinels in the X-Men world, and maybe Doom can magic them in some way, but I don't think he's bringing in an army of Sentinels.
Yeah, I could see it more that they already exist. He uses like he happens to see one, use his powers to control one
Hmm.
or manipulate one in some way, but not like he's gonna create an army of Sentinels for the and this is the first time they've ever appeared. I don't think that's the direction they would
No.
take.
And
It's
I don't even see an army of Sentinels. I can imagine like one or two.
yeah, but I do hope they look like the Sentinel.
Hmm. The next one, this one's from Alex from CC, Cosmic
Actually,
Circus.
hold on.
Yes.
Would you rather have the Sentinels look like what they do in like the cartoon, like the X-Men cartoons, and or
Hmm.
the way they did them in Days of Future Past?
X-Men cartoon.
Okay,
How
they were
about
pretty
you?
badass in Days of Future Past, I
Hmm.
thought, but it was an
I
advanced
Yeah.
version. Anyways,
So the Alex from CC rumor here is that Michael Jordan is going to be playing a variant of Black Panther in Doomsday.
Michael B. Jordan.
Hmm.
Okay, not NBA
No.
All-Star. Okay,
NBA Hall of Famer, NBA GOAT.
yeah,
Yeah.
professional gambler and all
Hmm.
that.
I
Um,
mean, I personally know him most for his stint with the Chicago White Sox.
oh, well, that's understandable.
Hmm.
I'm more familiar with his minor league appearance, so
Yeah.
which I don't know the team that he was on, but
Well, he was a White Sox
yeah,
minor leaguer. He never actually, I don't believe he ever actually made it to the big leagues, but he was in their farm system.
never they didn't let him up. I
I don't
thought
think so.
probably best.
Yeah. Anyways, Michael B. Jordan.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, man, bring Michael B. Jordan back. I love that guy.
Hmm. I think that this might be a Secret Wars thing versus Doomsday, but
And
yeah.
it's kind of that multiverse thing, right?
Yep.
We're talking about that
Multiverse is fine for Doomsday and for Secret Wars, in my opinion.
it's fair game,
Just,
right? It
yeah,
doesn't bleed into the Kang stuff, so
right. Multiverse is pretty separate from, well, not pretty
it's
separate, but separate enough from King at this point.
yeah, yes.
Then the final one is that the Sentry will have a decent role in Avengers Doomsday. This one comes from My Time to Shine Hello. This think means that they'll play like a relatively important role for it. I'm wondering. I still like my theory of the Thunderbolts. Excuse me, the new Avengers are are sitting there through a lot of the movie, basically being like, "Well, we don't know what's going on fully. We don't know how to stop this. Like everybody thinks we keep on making like maybe slightly wrong decisions on stuff. We're gonna do the great thing at the end. Bob, you're gonna have to use your sentry powers to get rid of the other world, to save our world." And that, of course, will then turn out to be the wrong thing to do.
Right. I would think that they're going to try and have Sentry defeat Doom because they don't know anybody more powerful. Thunderbolts don't know anybody more powerful than the Sentry at this point.
Hmm.
So use him against Doom. Doom manipulates and takes the Sentry, uses the Sentry,
Maybe.
makes the Void come out.
Yeah. I think the Thunderbolts just make the bad decision on their own of sending Sentry after the other world. And that might be the point where Sentry interacts with Doom and Doom manipulates him to actually go through with
As
it.
long as it's not the like the Achilles heel of all of it, right? Of what
Hmm.
as long as because of what they do with Sentry isn't the thing that affects everything they're on
Yeah.
they're onward, you know what I mean? That because
Hmm.
I that bothers me for some reason. I don't want the Thunderbolts to like be
Be
the
just
people that just
big screw up.
yeah, the biggest possible earth-ending screw up you could possibly do, right? And they're just like, ah crap. It just
I mean, I kind of would enjoy that, but
it just I don't know.
because it has to be done from like a very intentional, we're trying to do the right thing
Oh, for
mindset
sure.
set, and
But it
they
doesn't
can
complete Doom's plan so much that he can do all this. Like it's not pivotal
right,
in destroying everything in a way.
right. I think that it would just be they hasten an inevitability,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. I, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So that's it for rumors. We still have the news. First off, let's see, what do I want to do here? All right, let's do the new Ironheart teaser. Little scene between Ironheart and the Hood,
Mm.
Riri Williams and
That
Anthony
guy.
Ramos.
There you go.
That it's mixing two together, right? Because Anthony
Mackie?
no, Anthony Ramos is the actor who is playing the character of the Hood. And I'm trying to remember
The
the
Hood's action.
character's, yeah, actual name. So I'm having my Greg moment for the day.
Ugh.
Parker Robbins. Parker Robbins. There we go. So he's playing Parker Robbins, the Hood. Um, yeah, I had no chance to mute.
That was, I was like, no mute? Okay, all right. Just roll with it, man. Just
Yep,
sneeze
just
it out.
a confident sneezer. Um,
Yeah,
kind of,
Anthony Ramos sounds more like the character,
yep.
right,
But it's
than Parker.
yeah,
So,
Parker Robbins is the character name. I thought it was a decent little scene. Like, there's not much that goes on in it, but we get kind of Riri's motivations and
mhm.
like kind of her struggle of yeah, I want to be recognized. I want to be, as she puts it, iconic. And I'm fine doing bad things, kind of, but not really. Like I want to be Ocean's 11 versus Sopranos
Yeah,
is how she put it
right.
or how he put it.
It's
And
it's more of a Robin Hood,
yeah,
steal from the rich, give to the poor kind of
yeah,
mentality that she's looking for, aka Ocean's 11.
yes.
So,
I
yeah,
liked kind of just that little bit felt like okay, that gives us a starting point for what to expect.
sure. And I kind of knew that her role, I knew that she was going to be good.
Yes.
Dominique. Oh, I can't. I'm
Dominic Thorne.
yes. I was thinking Riri Williams. No, that's the character.
Yes.
So I knew that Dominic was going to be good. I have faith in that. What I
Mhm.
was curious
Well,
about,
I feel like you should be saying Riri is going to
well,
be good because
Riri,
the actor
wait,
is Dominic Thorne. The
right.
character is Riri Williams. So we knew that Riri was going to be good.
No, I'm saying like Dominic Thorne's
Oh,
portrayal,
portrayal. Oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because I felt like it was good in Wakanda Forever.
Hmm.
I'm feeling pretty good about what she does. Anthony Ramos,
Hmm.
I I was kind of curious about him, and I was from the small little bit we got,
Hmm.
it was kind of believable. It didn't feel pushed or
It felt a lot better than it did in the trailer.
yeah, it was a little bit more like authentic. Like it was like he was in his role.
Hmm.
It didn't feel like
Yeah,
somebody else playing. So,
yeah, yep. Agreed there. Next up, Ryan Coogler confirms that Denzel Washington is having a role written for him in Black Panther 3. So kind of just double confirmation since Denzel
mhm.
had already stated it as well.
Those old
But
guys, they just don't care. Like,
I trust the director more so.
yeah,
Um, I did a video this week on potentially who he could be playing. And I'm sure Greg, you watched it in great
five
detail.
times.
Excellent. That explains the view numbers. No.
Five,
Five of them.
all five.
No. No. Do you have any thoughts as to who she should be playing?
I mean, no, I really don't. I just think it's gonna be somebody of significance.
Hmm.
I don't have a lot of Black Panther depth as far as characters go.
Hmm.
So, will it be the baddie? Will it be somebody from Wakanda? I
Hmm.
could see it as both. Like an elder maybe of some kind,
Hmm.
Wakandan elder maybe, but I don't really have a great guess. No.
Yeah. There were a couple of characters, I don't remember their names anymore because again, my knowledge of Black Panther tends to be more from the Avengers and Illuminati kind of side of things
Hmm.
versus the direct Black Panther comics. But one of them was basically a Wakandan philosopher who the Wakandan philosophers' philosophies were used basically to start a revolt in Wakanda, even though that's not what the philosophies were about.
Hmm.
So he actually teams up with Black Panther to try and stop the rebellion, the revolt that his philosophies have started, which I thought was kind of like an interesting, kind of good depth for a character.
Hmm. Yeah, that
And
is kind of interesting.
the other one is kind of more tribalistic and shamanistic character who tries to overthrow Wakanda, basically saying that this royal line, this idea of like, okay, it's this kingdom is goes against what it should be, and it should be tribalistic, and there shouldn't be a central rule over all the different tribes.
Hmm.
So I was like, that's kind of interesting too, because it's like, how do we had Killmonger who was like, okay, how can I use the whole centralized power to get my goal? And then we have Namor who doesn't really care anything about Wakanda. It's just stay away from my vibranium.
Hmm.
And this would feel different than those two of dismantling everything.
I would rather see an angry Denzel than
Hmm.
a
Philosopher.
yeah, philosopher, partnering up with the
Hmm.
Wakandan or Black Panther and whoever else.
Hmm.
So I think yeah, I would just rather see him being nasty than anything
Hmm.
else.
Yeah, I think that second one is definitely the one that I would lean towards as well.
Mhm.
Though I did think both of those were interesting options that I had found.
Do you think, I mean, if there's somebody there that's trying to, it seems like they're trying to bring back the different tribes that are in there and that there's not, right? There's not one
Yeah.
overwhelming tribe ruling all,
Yeah.
right? But
Yes.
and because that's in the first Black Panther, it seemed like they have battles that determine that. Like, M'Baku could have been
Kind of. I think it's
also in
more.
charge, right? Or
Yeah.
the king, if he wanted
Yeah.
to be, but he would have had to win
Hmm.
that title. So it's kind of bringing that back, but
Kind of.
is it
But
that they're trying
it's
to knock the power hold of?
you're trying to cut off the idea of the king, period. Like there is no king. You would have each tribe doing its thing separately, would bring back, I'm sure, tribal wars and things like that. That's just trying to completely destabilize the area that
Which
way.
it feels like it's so not Wakanda if they do it
Hmm.
that way. Because that feels like this person doesn't belong. And really, the Wakandan people, all the tribes would not necessarily go for that because,
But the tribes that are further out in Wakanda, because I think the tribes we see are very, I mean, they're very kind of just seated in the the city in the central part of Wakanda, and they look at it and go like, okay, well, this is nice, this is cushy. What is it? Or is it less? It's probably less the leaders of the tribes because the leaders of the tribes are like, okay, no, this works great. I have my spot on the council. We disagree from time to time, but like I'm still in a position of power. This is probably working at more of a grassroots level. So even within the tribes, them trying to overthrow and put up new leaders who and new voices who don't want the royal line to
yeah,
continue the way it has.
that doesn't sit right with me. It just feels like it's outside of what the Wakandan people are. I feel like there's more of a peaceful people, but also, I mean, there's history behind. I'm
Hmm.
sure that they can fill in, and
Yeah.
so either way,
Hmm.
Denzel needs to be the baddie.
Yeah. Then three different things about Fantastic Four. First off, tickets are on sale now. That's a fourth thing. Just bonus
Bonus.
item there. And when the tickets went on sale, there was a new little teaser trailer that dropped, including one special character in that teaser.
Me?
No, no,
Oh,
sorry. The baby.
the baby. About time.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting, I guess. I wasn't expecting that. I it's this whole thing where it's the baby bump to pregnant Susan Storm to now we have the actual Franklin Richards. Like
Hmm.
I wasn't expecting him to be there, although I know there was like a leak of Legos or something like that had
Funko.
Funko. Yeah, way to go, Funko. You real Funkoed up that one.
Heyo.
So rim shot, please. Um, for me, I was kind of surprised to see that they were showing a baby at this point. I thought that was going to be more of a later on thing and
Hmm.
not, I don't, or not later on. I just thought it was going to be more kept under wraps.
Yeah.
So
Now imagine that it's twin and they hide that the whole time.
yeah, right. I could, I mean, why not
Yep.
get Valeria in there? Sure. Sorry, I
Yeah.
got a dog barking.
I'm a little surprised that they revealed it as well. Just because even if we know it's coming, that visual of the seeing the baby there, I think is I think that's kind of the piece that feels like it should have been a reveal for the movie.
Yeah, I think that's how I was feeling about it too. Um, I just, again, I think as I always do, get a little nervous about seeing too much and
Hmm.
not having enough surprises when I'm in there watching. But
Yeah.
I
Though
think there's still a lot. I think there's
mhm.
still going to be a ton. They
I'm
know how to do this well enough
mhm.
where
I
they,
think there's going to be a fairly decent sized reveal in the next trailer. I think we'll get a good shot of Galactus.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, which is fine. I mean,
yeah,
but at the same
because
time, I don't
we've
want
already had enough of a shot of Galactus. I don't need more, but I feel like that's gonna happen.
right. And I don't know. Do I have to watch it? Are you going to make me watch it?
Yes. Um, or I'm gonna take extensive notes and explain in such detail that you get annoyed and just watch it.
Fine.
All right.
That
And
sounds
but we
painful, so I'll just watch it.
mhm. We still don't know who Birdie is playing. Can't remember the actress's name.
Oh, Natasha Lyonne?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Got it.
Yeah.
John
So
Malkovich.
and we still don't know who John Malkovich is playing either. Or
Speculation was, oh, we got Franklin Richards, like the
old Franklin Richards.
old one, Mole
Yep.
Man, maybe doubted, but
Hmm. Or like there's one shot or that one shot that we saw of him, people equated a little bit to a old Tony Stark comic panel. Reed's father also
uh
could make sense. So between that and then Phil Walker Hauser, Walter
sure.
Hauser, Phil
Yep.
Walter Hauser, I think it is. Um,
Wh-
the assumption again is Mole Man for him, but no confirmation. And yeah, so there's still a few characters or actors that we can confirm. But Kevin Feige did call out the fact in the Empire magazine interview. He called out the fact that the ship, and he referred to the ship in the Thunderbolts trailer as Excelsior, which is a Fantastic Four ship, also obviously Stan Lee's catchphrase, um, is not the same ship that we've seen in the Fantastic Four trailers.
hmm.
And places like New Rockstars had already caught this as well. The ship design, while very similar, is slightly different. Um, so that to me is interesting. I speculated a little bit about it, but yeah, kind of makes me wonder, like, okay, do the Fantastic Four save their world? And this is an adult Franklin coming through, basically saying, like, I know like a way to save people, but it requires going back in time to get the original Fantastic Four out of his universe
Hmm.
because that'd be a way to bring him forward in time. If we're not just going to go with, well, it's 1960s in their world, but it's 2028 in the MCU, and those two are running parallel to each other, or, oh, they went through a wormhole time shenanigans.
I that I, there was another idea. I thought that somebody said that somehow maybe that ship is like what gave them or was part of when they got their powers.
Okay.
Like, and I don't know how to put all this together necessarily, but they came in and must have maybe they got their powers on that trip and then ended up going back. Somebody had mentioned that. I apologize. I can't think of who that was. Um, so I thought that was interesting. Then they end up coming back eventually again,
Hmm.
right? So like what you said, maybe they're pulled in or needed to be brought back. But
Yeah.
the other idea was the Fantastic Four. What if they
They put themselves in stasis and into a
no,
black hole.
I'm trying to remember what that other one was. Hang
John Malkovich.
on. No, I had my thought and then
And then I said John
my
Malkovich and it was gone.
and then it was just gone.
Well, as you think about that, I'll talk
Yeah,
about the
let me think
last
about it. I got distracted. Okay.
Fantastic Four first steps. Matt Shackman, I think I might have mentioned this one before, but he has confirmed that RDJ is going to be playing Doctor Doom in this film. Do you believe him?
No, I don't believe anything they say anymore.
That's fair. Um, I'm going to say I do believe him, but I believe him in the sense that the totality of this film, like the kind of the three act structure, is going to be completed without Doctor Doom in it. So you have your kind of life as is, the inciting incident, the rising event, or the rising up to kind of your climax event, and then your third act as things kind of get back to normal. And then if RDJ is in it, I think it's going to be kind of okay, things are back to normal. Like Reed is investigating the idea of the multiverse or something like that still, but then Doom shows up. So kind of more of that post-credit scene or setting up Doomsday. I don't think he's going to play into the plot of the film at all.
Sure. I don't know what to say about this anymore. I I it's I think for me that's probably how I'd want it to be. I don't really need to have RDJ
Yes.
show up. I just think he needs to there's something in the post credits. It
Yeah.
hints at it. Good to go.
Or
I don't want it to take it's I don't want to take away from the aesthetic of the movie and what's happening at that.
mhm.
But
yeah. It so like the RDJ in the Fantastic Four, I don't think is going to happen. The same way I don't think Chris Evans is going to show up in the Fantastic Four film as Johnny Storm from a
right.
different universe. That
The
takes
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
that just takes away from it.
Yeah.
Maybe the post-credit scene is a council of reeds and we see the Chris Evans Johnny Storm in that and then Doom comes in and starts to wreck the council of reeds and our Doom or our Reed escapes back out. Like something
That'd be
like
kind of
that,
cool.
sure. I mean that's what I pitched for the Council of Kangs that one time was just like just have either have King the Conqueror come in and wipe everybody out in the Council of Kings, so you only have the bad king left, or when there were some thoughts and talks about like, well, maybe they're just going to do Doctor Doom. I'm like, well, wrap up that loose end, just have Doom show up and wipe out the Council of Kings.
Yeah, it's a good that's a good transition.
Hmm.
Way to use your previous idea. That works either way. I did remember what I was going to
Yes.
say. The Fantastic Four, this is kind of maybe going back to the ship, right? The maybe two ships.
Yep.
Um, that
Definitely
they're
are two
not
ships.
definitely are two ships.
Yes.
Um, they are actually from a different universe and
Yep.
they come in. Did you hear that too? Like they come into
No.
this time the time period that we see him in.
Hmm.
That's how Reed is able to maybe do the things he does because it seems like it's a very 1960s vibe, right?
Hmm.
And the technology is really brought to life when Reed comes because he comes from a him and the Fantastic
Yeah.
Four come from a different universe and maybe I don't know. It was an interesting idea. I thought that's how they are there. That's why the technology is kind of advances in a different way from what the other 1960s as we know it,
Hmm.
really had. So they didn't have flying cars in 1960.
Yeah.
They had
And
hoverboards, but that was in the Back to the Future timeline.
verse. Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
There you
there
go.
was one last piece of news. This we don't often cover Marvel video game stuff, but um, that was announced, and I believe this is supposed to be coming in 2026. Marvel Tokon, Tokon, subtitled Fighting Souls. This is supposed to be a 4 versus 4 Marvel fighting game.
Another fighting game? I
Yep.
feel like that's all they do is just a fighting game.
I mean, there are some other things, but
There
uh,
are.
fighting games are easy to make, and then you spend years balancing them to get the combat levels right for every character, so nobody's broken. But that's that's how it works, in my opinion.
I mean, they like I think I mentioned before, my son was playing Avengers, the Avengers game,
Hmm.
and we have Guardians of the Galaxy, which is more of that story based, right? And
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, but I often see, I get excited, like Midnight Suns had something coming on. I think that was again just a player versus player, or
No, Midnight Suns is a fairly heavy heavily
is
story
it?
game. Yes, with I believe it's less button mashy combat. It might even be turn-based combat.
Hmm.
So,
Oh, then it shows that I know. It just felt like every time I was excited to hear about
yeah,
one, it was just
it's just
a,
fight, fight,
a
fight.
fight,
Yeah,
mash the buttons,
yeah.
see who wins.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. On to the main topic. Like I said, I think we did kind of quickly run over a little bit of this idea at the end of our Thunderbolts episode, but we wanted to give ourselves some more time to think about it and pick our order. I'm debating about flipping two of them still.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, my 5 and 6 are really interchangeable, honestly. But
my 4 and 5 are the ones that am debating on, and I am actually flipping them.
oh, you're gonna
Uh,
regret it.
nope.
Yep, you will.
All right, so there were 6 movies that came out in Phase 5. We've ranked them from 6 to 1. And
I should
Greg,
say there is one left, right? We got one to go that we're not obviously adding in.
no,
This is so Fantastic Four starts 6. I thought there was
Fantastic
one
Four.
left.
Nope, Fantastic Four is the first movie of Phase 6. We aren't doing all of the shows in this as well because Ironheart is still a Phase 5 project.
Okay.
And that's why we're not ranking everything, including like Echo, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, X-Men 97, Secret Invasion, clearly our number ones.
We already know that would be our 5 already,
Yeah.
or 6, whatever the last one. Does X-Men 97 feel like forever ago to you? Because it certainly does for me.
It feels like quite a while. We've had a lot of content this year.
Yeah.
So, and the end of last year with What If, we're in a great time for content right now. How about that?
Uh, okay.
So, your number 6.
My number 6, and again, well, I'll just say, okay, it's Quantumania. And
Mhm.
I always feel bad about this, and I'm trying not to have a recency bias, and not that this is
Yeah.
anytime recent, but with my other ones though, Quantumania just
Quantum Mania is, and it's also my number 6.
is
It's
okay.
75% of a really fun movie. And then there are just some weird decisions made. I think with the end in particular, both the ants and like
Modoc.
the MODOK, sure. MODOK's just kind of his own little weird thing over there. It's like whatever. But like the whole um Ant-Man being like, well, this doesn't feel right. This like
Oh, it in
uh,
the post credits,
yeah, yeah, not post credits, but that was
wasn't it?
just very end of the movie,
Oh, it
wasn't
was.
it?
You're right.
Yeah,
Okay.
because then um because then it was Loki season 2, and or was it Loki season? It was Council of Kangs for sure.
Yeah. Was
But it
that
was,
was that the Quantumania post credit scene?
yeah,
Were there
Council of
two? There were
Kangs.
two, right?
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think the second one was for Loki season 2. Was it? Feels like it was.
Was it something
Or was
where
that the Marvels?
that might have been the
But
Marvels?
I
Was it
think it
just like
was.
I don't know, a
I don't remember
hint?
what it was. Yeah. But
Weird.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's my number 6, and that's your number 6. I'm just gonna
Hmm.
say I had a hard time with this Quantumania and my fifth one, which
Hmm.
was the Marvels,
Okay.
because I had fun. It was like the same thing. I had fun. I
Hmm.
liked the the power, like um kind of the where their powers were kind of intertwined. I liked that
Hmm.
idea. I did not like the dance planet, or they just didn't do it right, is really what it
Yeah.
was. I liked a lot of things about it, but it just kind of was like disconnected at times.
Yeah.
And so that and Quantumania just that's why they're down there for me because
Mhm.
they all just felt there's a slight disconnection.
Yep.
Or I guess Quantumania ended up being disconnected because the Jonathan
Yes.
Major thing, right? I was kind of actually that was one of the things I really kind of liked was Jonathan Major's performance in that. However,
Yeah.
you know the rest.
Yep. I'm going to go with my number five as Captain America: Brave New World.
Okay.
I enjoyed that one quite well. Um, it was just you could feel kind of the seam in it.
Hmm.
I think it was where it was like, okay, you added in Giancarlo Esposito's character. I think it probably was the right call for them to do that and to change stuff up from what they had originally. My guess is that felt very like cartoony in what like with the original Serpent Society in there.
Was their acting not good either? Is that kind of what I was
I
picking up on? Like
I
it,
don't think so. I think it felt disconnected from the fairly serious uh Samuel Stern.
oh.
I think they I think it was they intentionally were like, "Oh yeah, let's kind of lean into the wacky kind of snake motif sort of stuff with the acting, with the look and everything." And then they were like, "But that doesn't match the rest of the movie, so we have to rework that."
Hmm. Yeah, with the and I think what they had was Harrison Ford in it from the get-go, or was it William Hurt
Harrison Ford was
start?
in it from the get-go.
Okay.
William Hurt had passed away at least a year prior, if not more.
Okay. So but they did not have Hulk surviving, or I should say, Harrison Ford's president.
Hmm.
Originally was not going to survive, I don't think. That's what that funeral scene, I believe, was. So again, playing to the very somber, more somber side and more serious side, I could see why the Serpent Society, if they were playing him in that more comic-y way, probably a good idea to take him out.
Yep.
So, um, yeah.
It's it's just one where it it unfortunately has a little bit of that feel of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier to it, where it was just like
Yeah.
it didn't quite come together the way that it should.
So my my fourth is Captain America: Brave New World. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I had it up there, but I thought it was in my fifth slot, but I put it in
Hmm.
four because even though the seams were noticeable in a way, it still felt more cohesive. Surprisingly, it felt cohesive enough for me to
Hmm.
bump it up. Plus, I thought I don't know, and I just watched it the other night and
Yeah.
I it did nothing really stood I didn't balk at anything, like what.
Yeah.
So it gave it that next level up for me.
Mhm. Yeah, the Marvels is my number four,
The
and
Flurkins, they got you, didn't they?
the Flurkins got me. I think I think with that one it was just more of the characters were given more to do. We, I think just with Miss Marvel and uh Teyonah Paris's Spectrum,
Hmm.
those characters are just a little bit more interesting and engaging than than I felt like for not Secret Wars, but for
Brave New
Brave New
World.
World. Um, but it is really close. And honestly, like my five through three are all like I think could change depending on the day that I watch them. And
Mm.
and I also like because they at least tried to do the right thing with Captain Marvel as
Sure.
um, giving her a weakness that she can't power through.
Right.
Like the power entanglement nerfed her powers, but also the realization and her having to deal with the understanding that, oh, I was I thought I was like always doing the right thing, but now somebody who looked up to me is becoming disillusioned with
Hmm.
me and doesn't think that I'm doing the right thing or did the same thing I did, and now I can see that that wasn't the right thing, I thought was good.
Yeah, I really I liked how she had to step back and realize, man, all this destruction that I've been doing, my intentions are good, but like
Yeah.
there's serious consequences to some of the stuff that I was doing, which, that's kind of the whole superhero thing. Like sometimes that's forgotten
Hmm.
about, and hence the Accords happening, right?
Hmm.
So, um,
I'd like to see that have even been leaned into more
sure, I agree.
to really, really make it great.
Yeah.
How about then, Greg, your number three?
My number three was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Same.
It
It's
I
almost my number five.
really okay.
Hmm.
It's fit pretty snug and cozy in there right in the middle for me because I had fun watching it.
Hmm.
I got to see a bunch of fun characters.
Hmm.
Um,
Can't
Great
call them
acting.
cameos. They're in
Yep.
there too long to be cameos.
Um, and the villain's great. So I don't
Hmm.
know. I As much as I still felt like it was too quippy and I don't know, not enough substance was happening. It was just,
Yeah.
I think about what would I want to watch if I had a chance to watch any of them, and that felt higher than the rest for me. So,
Yeah. And
um,
that's why it's number three for me as well. It really is like it's easier to toss that one on and watch it than
mhm.
it is the other two. Though I think if I want to sit down and watch something where I feel like it matters a bit more, like it's weird to say that the whole idea of Deadpool's universe ending matters less than what we see in Brave New World and the Marvels, but it does in a lot of ways. Like,
Yeah.
we don't really feel the weight of that, and I think we feel the weight, especially in Brave New World, of kind of everything that's going on. And with the Marvels too, I think it's a better, we get a chance for some characters to really think and question.
Yeah. Yeah. It, it it just felt Deadpool and Wolverine was a little bit hollow for me. It didn't have
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just that's just Ryan Reynolds writing. I think it's more about the funny, the gags,
Yeah,
the show, and that's fine.
especially with
That's
Deadpool. Like
it,
it's
exactly.
Deadpool. I, I'm going to expect that. If I got a super serious Deadpool film, I'd be a little bit worried
Yeah,
of and wary of it that way too. So it's not like this is a bad thing, and which is why we both have it as our number three.
right.
It's just like the understanding of this is no Thor Ragnarok for a fun film to
Yeah.
watch.
But
There,
it didn't have the Deadpool 1 feel. Like I felt
mhm.
like that had more weight in
Yes.
it.
Hmm.
Whereas this was a little bit light.
Yes, very much. For a whole, potentially the whole universe being wiped out, and
Right. Yeah.
it's like, okay.
Yeah.
How about
Um,
your number two?
my number two, Guardians Volume 3. I haven't honestly watched this, I don't think since I don't know if I've watched it since the theaters.
I haven't, and it's also my number two. Um, and it that is a testament of how tough it is to watch with the experiments that
Mm,
the High Evolutionary does, and seeing Rocket, Teef's Floor, and
hmm.
the other one, Lila,
Yeah.
seeing what they go through. It's just, I mean, that's rough. And yeah, it has James Gunn's goofiness to it too,
But
but
it's kind of brutal.
mhm, it's
But you do
brutal.
get it all pays off because you get the hallway scene, and
Hmm.
that's honestly, if I watch it, that's what I'm most excited to get to.
Hmm. That and the first F-bomb.
True, that was pretty funny. Yeah,
Hmm. So, like, it has some really solid moments and elements to it. I think Adam Warlock's well done, and just the absurdity of that character's power and brain power, and the difference between the two.
I honestly forgot that he kind of is brought out in this in three.
Hmm.
I kind of forgot about it, but yeah, he's a man baby, and
Yeah.
it's good comedy and
Yeah,
it's a fun little side story.
yeah. But I mean that obviously we both have the same number one.
Yeah. And some people say recency bias, and I just don't feel like that is the case for this. I
No.
think it's just, I enjoyed watching Thunderbolts from start to finish. I wanted to watch it again the next day or the next, sometime the week in that same weekend that I saw it originally. I
Hmm.
haven't got to yet, but yeah, I just think that it has been the best thing that they did in Phase 5
Yeah.
for movies. And oh man, I don't know if
I
I
can't
could
say
say
shit.
like, I don't know. I'll save that idea because
Yeah,
I'll
we've
sit let me sit on that for a little while longer.
mhm. Yeah, I do expect that we're going to come back to this in September, kind of in
Hmm.
between after Eyes of Wakanda is done, before Marvel Zombies comes out, and take everything from Phase 5, so all the shows, movies, animated shows, and rank them all against each other.
Yeah.
So we'll have a bigger list then to kind of get comprehensively. But yeah, Thunderbolts, I agree with you. It's well done from start to finish. There's good humor in it. But oftentimes, like the humor that is happening is also kind of masking pain, and they bounce that
Hmm.
really well. Um, and there's just so much heart to it. And I think the idea of kind of loneliness and questioning, um, like, okay, not not necessarily the questioning the idea of like, okay, why am I here on Earth? But it's like, what's my purpose? I feel like what I do doesn't matter as much as I hoped it would. And then I go home and I don't have people around like I hoped I would. So where do you draw your meaning from?
Yeah.
And they do a good job of building towards that end where all the characters are starting to find a reason to draw meaning together.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
it.
any yeah, let us know your ranking of those six. I'm gonna do a video for mine coming out here this week, and yeah, drop it in the comments section for this podcast episode or for that video how you would rank them. We appreciate everybody checking out the podcast. If you're enjoying this content, check out the videos we put out, as well as all the ways that Greg said at the beginning. And we have a Patreon, patreon.com/nerdologists. The funds go to help improve the quality of this podcast, as well as the Melts and Meeples YouTube channel, 10 Minute Marvel YouTube channel, and nerdologists.com website. But with that, we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody. Bam.